Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. Oh, boys and girls, I'm Scott. You're in the Prog Corner, and oh, yeah, today is going to be a big one where I rank all the big train albums in honor of the band just putting out their latest record, their first for Inside Out. It's called The Likes of Us. It's also timed up to, honor the band's first mini U.S. tour. Yeah, I missed the Fort Wayne show because of some car trouble, but yeah, what a fantastic record. The guys and girl in the band also just played on Cruise to the Edge last night, and I heard that went really good. I'm not jealous, not even a little bit, but anyway, Big Train started like back in 1987 when Gregory Spotton was done with college and he moved to Bournemouth, and he met a guy named Andy Poole. And Andy had been involved with IQ and their predecessor, The Lens. So those early Big Train albums definitely have a little different sound than what they would turn into. Definitely more of a neo-prog type of thing. I am not going to be ranking the first two demos. 1992, they put out From the River to the Sea, and the following year, The Infant Hercules, not including those. We're going to start with their debut album, 1994's Goodbye to the Age of Steam. I'm also including Far Skies Deep Time, the EP that came out in 2010. Yeah, it's over 40 minutes long, so that sounds like a full length to me. And I'm also including Ingenious Devices. Even though it's all older material, it's re-recorded, so I include that. Counted as a new album, whatever. At number 17, yeah. Doing 17 records here today, and it's their third album, Bard, from 2002. Yeah, their first two albums were on Giant Electric P. This one here, they were kind of, wondering what they were going to do. Definitely a nadir in the band's career. You've got Gregory Spotton, of course, Andy Poole, joined by Ian Cooper, Martin Reed, Tony Mueller, and Phil Hogg on drums on this one. There's a couple of good songs on here, man. I was kind of wrong about the first three Big Train albums. I thought they were terrible. I'm actually, kind of eating crow here because the first three albums are actually good. Bard is their worst album, and it's got some great tracks on here, man. Broken English. For Winter. The album opens with a cool track, The Last English King, and it ends with a good song called A Long Finish. This is kind of like the outlier in the discography because this one has not been reissued, has not been remastered. It's technically out of print, but it needs some attention. At number 16, its predecessor, English Boy Wonders from 1997. Their second album, and this one's got a lot of really cool stuff. They did actually go back and re-release this thing in 2008, cleaned it up a little bit, added some bonus tracks. So it's Gregory Spotton, Andy Poole with Martin Reed on vocals, Tony Mueller on keyboards, and Steve Hughes on drums. Couple of really good tracks on this one that elevate this above Bard, not least of which is The Shipping Forecast, 10-minute track that's great. Albion Perfidy, another 10-minute track that's awesome. But my favorite song on here is a tune called Reaching for John Dowland. You can hear the Big Train greatness kind of bubbling under the surface, percolating up at number 15. It's their debut album, Goodbye to the Age of Steam. Yeah, they came out of the gates pretty strong with a real solid album in 1994. Again, it's Gregory Spotton, Andy Poole with Ian Cooper on keyboards, Steve Hughes on drums, and Martin Reed. Steve Hughes would later on go on to join the Enid. But we are treated by just a collection of really cool songs here. It starts out with probably one of the better known of the early Big Train songs, Wind Distorted Pioneers. I like Edge of the Known World. Blow Your House Down's good. Blue, Silver, Red, Losing Your Way. Just a real solid collection of songs announcing to the world that Big Train has arrived at number 14. I'm going with their fourth album from 2004, Gathering Speed, and this is where the pace, the momentum starts gathering, right? You can definitely feel something's happening in Big Train world. And it starts on this album right here. Martin Reed is gone. We got a guy named Sean Filkins on vocals on this one. And their next album, awesome, man. He's got an amazing solo album out too, if you want to check that out. Steve Hughes back on drums. Ian Cooper, apparently this is the last album he performed on. Some great tracks on here. High Tide, Last Stand. Fighter Command is 11 minutes long, is really good. Powder Monkey's great. Gathering Speed, the title track, really good record. You could definitely tell something was happening. At number 13, I'm going with the second Brightest Star from 2017. Actually, this was their second album from 2017. They had dropped Grimmspound earlier in the year. And this is a weird release because it's got some new material that I really like, particularly the title track and Skylon. Rachel Hall gets to sing on A Passing Window. Leaden Stour is good, but the album is dominated by reworkings of songs from Folklore and Grimmspound, the Brooklyn sequence, the London Plains sequence. Takes up like over 30 minutes of the album of material that we've already heard before, so it obviously gets a little bit lower in the rankings as a result. At number 12, I'm going with their fifth album, The Difference Machine from 2007. Clearly, this was the exact moment in time when Big Train realized that they could actually make a dent in the marketplace. They bring in some guests here. Nick DiVirgilio guest drums on this thing before he becomes a permanent member. Dave Miros from Spock's Beard is on here. Pete Trewavas from Marillion's on here. The band at this point in time is Spontan and Pool, joined by Sean Filkins on vocals and Steve Hughes on drums. And Spontan and Pool take care of everything else. Some great songs on this one, man. This is, like I said, kind of where Big Train becomes Big Train. These lights are driving me crazy here today. The Perfect Cosmic Storm, 14-minute track that I love. Pick Up If You're There. Saltwater Falling on Uneven Ground. And of course, the great track that is Summer's Lease. Probably the one people know best from this album. But yeah, just a real good pre-David Longdon. If you want to explore what the band was like before Longdon joined. The Difference Machine, I think, is the best of the first five. But they're all actually really good. I was so wrong about them, man. Really enjoyed listening to that early stuff. But now we're into the top 11, and all this stuff is current or fairly current. At number 11, I've got Welcome to the Planet from 2022, technically their 14th album, and their final album with David Longdon, final album with Carly Bryant. This is the first album with Claire Lindley in the band, so you've got the core four at this point of Longdon, Greg Spott, Nick DiVirgilio, and Ricard Soljabloom, and they're joined by Dave Foster, Carly Bryant, and Claire Lindley. I'm not crazy about this one. There's some songs I like, but overall, it's not as strong as its predecessor. Made from Sunshine is nice. Kind of the very last David Longdon song that we would ever get to hear. From Big Train, The Connection Plan is a Nick DiVirgilio song. Room with No Ceiling is a Ricard Soljabloom song. Oak and Stone is Soljabloom, Spot, and Nick. The title track is actually written by Carly Bryant right before she left the band. My favorite song on here is Lanterna. But overall, this one just suffers from a bit of sameness. Even the album covers look the same. Look at those, man. It's like the same album cover. It's kind of weird. I don't get it. At number 10, we talked about the EP, and yeah, I've got it here. Yeah, it's 40 minutes long, so I'm including it. It's got two different versions. One version has the Anthony Phillips cover, Master of Time. The other version has Kingmaker, which was a song off that Infant Hercules demo album that they put out. Some really tasty stuff on here. British Racing Green is David Longdon co-write. Brambling and The Wide Open Sea. So those three were all David Longdon co-writes. His first writing credits with the band. Hopefully this one will get a vinyl release because I really do like it. Number 9, it's Common Ground from 2021, the band's 13th album. Again, this is the core four of Longdon, Spott, and Nick DiVirgilio, Ricard Soljabloom, joined by Carly Bryant and Dave Foster. But these are some good songs on here. This is a way better album than Welcome to the Planet. The Strangest Times, All the Love We Can Give, Nick DiVirgilio's song, fantastic. Black with Ink, Headwaters, Nick DiVirgilio instrumental called Apollo is great. The title track written by Dave Longden, just amazing. And of course, the epic that is Atlantic Cable, one of Greg Sponton's better epics. Fantastic. I love it. At number 8, it's Ingenious Devices. Yeah. Should I include it? Should I not include it? This thing came out in 2023. It's kind of like an introduction to the new version of the band. They kind of suck you in with 3 old tracks, East Coast Racer, Brooklands, and Voyager with the old lineup, the 2017 lineup. And then you get another track, a 4th epic, and you get a brand new version of Atlantic Cable with the new version of the band with Alberto Brevin and Oscar Holdorf and the new version of the band. So it was just basically a way to get fans used to what's going on here. But these are all re-recorded versions, and the 4 epics are just masterful, just dynamite. If this was new material, this would probably be their best album, but you know. At number 7, it's Grimm's Pound from 2017, their 10th album. It followed on the heels of Folklore, and yeah, the album covers look kind of similar. It is, of course, Sarah Louise Ewing. Fantastic. That was Dave Longden's partner. Also the sister of Jerry Ewing, the editor of Prog magazine. But Grimm's Pound was the first Big Train album to chart on the British charts, and why not, man? Brave Captain, Experimental Gentleman, Mead Hall and Winter. You get Judy Dibble on the Ivy Gate. So this is where you've got everybody's in the band at this point. This was the best lineup of the band. You've got Greg Spott and Andy Poole, Nick DiVirgilio, the great Dave Gregory, Dave Longden, Danny Manners, Rachel Hall, and Richard Soldiebloom. What a great lineup, and Grimm's Pound is amazing. At number 6, I've got English Electric number 2 from 2013, the follow-up to English Electric 1, and then they went ahead, added a couple more songs, and did Full Power, which was just a monster of a release, and putting the 2 versions of English Electric together. But here we've got Sponton, Poole, DiVirgilio, Dave Gregory, and David Longden, joined by Danny Manners. I don't think he's a actual technical member of the band yet here. Andy Tillison's on here. Rachel Hall is a guest. And the songs on here are great, man. East Coast Racer, of course. But you've got Swan Hunter, Leopards, Keeper of Abbeys, The Permanent Way, Curator of Butterflies. Just a fantastic record. How's it not in the top 5? Well, because this top 5 is just ridiculous, man. At number 5, I've got from 2009, I've got their 6th album, The Underfall Yard, the first album with Dave Longden, the first album with Nick DiVirgilio as a permanent member, the first album with the great one and only Dave Gregory on guitar. Yeah, you had the best drummer, the best guitar player, and the best keyboard player, vocalist in the world into your band. It's probably going to do something, and it did, man. The Underfall Yard took them to a whole new level. And songs like Master of St. James, Last Train, Victorian Brickwork, and of course that 22-minute long, absolutely epic title track. Just absolutely love it. What a great album, what a great band, and this was their first masterpiece, The Underfall Yard. At number 4, yeah, let's do the new one, man. The Likes of Us from 2014, technically their 15th album. Just a fantastic record. You've got a new lineup on this. You've got Alberto Bravin on vocals. You've got Oscar Hodorf on keyboards, and Greg Spott and Nick DiVirgilio, Richard Soldiebloom, Andy Foster, Claire Lindley make up the band at this point. And just a quick shout out again to the great Sarah Louise Ewing for her amazing artwork, and also Rob Aubrey. I've gone 13 minutes, almost 14 minutes without recognizing his greatness and getting that big train sound. He's been engineering and producing a lot of their stuff. But man, this new album is great. Beneath the Masts, Miramar, Last 11, Skates on, Oblivion, just fantastic at number 3. It's the English Electric Volume 1, Part 1 from 2012. Their 7th album, and a lot of people's favorite album. And I totally get why this would be someone's favorite Big Train album. First, Rebreather. You've got Uncle Jack, which was the first actual solo songwriting credit for Dave Longden and the band. Judas Unrepentant. Hello, Dave Longden. Welcome to the band. Write a song called Judas Unrepentant. Wow. Summoned by Bells is on this album. A Boy in Darkness, Hedgerow. Yeah, it's pretty close to perfect. It absolutely is at number 2. I'm going with Grand Tour from 2019, the band's 12th album. It was the last album with Dave Gregory, the last album with Danny Manners, the last album with Rachel Hall. This is the first one without Andy Poole in the band, and it's just chock full of greatness, man. The Florentine, so good. Dave Longden pen track. Roman Stone, obviously. Greg Sponton track, Pantheon, Nick DiVirgilio's song, Theodore in Green and Gold, Sponton and Nick wrote that together, Ariel, another Longden masterpiece, and then Voyager, one of my favorite Greg Sponton tracks, one of my favorite tracks ever written, just amazing, it's perfect, it's beautiful. But that leads us to number 1, boys and girls, and big shocker, I've got at number 1 from 2016, the band's 9th album, Folklore. I think it's perfect. It is a masterpiece. I absolutely adore this one. This is the first album with Rachel Hall as a permanent member in the band. First album with Ricard Sojablum in the band. And they waste no time to give you just awesomeness. And Longden's songwriting here, man, is just incredible. He wrote Folklore. He wrote Wassel. He wrote Winky. He wrote Telling the Bees. Yeah, this is absolutely the moment that Dave Longden took total control over the band. But Sponton was not to be outdone with songs like The Transit of Venus, Across the Sun, and The London Plane. I love this album. I love Folklore. I think it's a 10 out of 10. It is easily my favorite Big Big Train album. And I love Big Big Train. They got a lot of great albums. So there you have it. That's my ranking. Tomorrow on the channel, boys and girls, I am going to be looking at investigating the new album from Semiramis. Oh, yeah, I'm excited. Is this? Oh, that's how it goes. It goes like that. La Fine Non Esista is the new album. 51 years in the making, so I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. Anyway, I love you. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save that king. That cotton picker could use your saving right about now. Yes, he could. Bring that boy over here. He could win some elections, too. Yes, indeed, he could. He looks like an American. Yes, he does. Bring that boy over here, and we'll save him up real good. We'll get that cancer out of him. We'll be dancing with snakes and saying all kinds of chants and incantations. Get that boy right in the head. He'll get him right. Bring him to America. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.